Welcome back, Crenshaw fans. We're on chapter 30. Last we left off, Jackson was remembering what it was like to live in the van and talking about how he deals with this by kind of pretending that time never existed. But I still wonder if it bothers Jackson. Maybe that's why Crenshaw's around. Let's find out. Chapter 30. I guess for most kids, imaginary friends just sort of fade away, the way dreams do. I've asked people when their imaginary friends stopped hanging around, and they never seem to remember. Everybody said the same thing. I guess I just outgrew him. But I lost Crenshaw all of a sudden, after things got back to normal. It was like when you have a favorite t-shirt and you've worn forever. One day you put it on and surprise, your belly button is showing. You don't remember growing too big for your shirt, but sure enough, there's your belly button, sticking out for the whole wide world to see. The day he left, Crenshaw walked to school with me. He did that most mornings unless he wanted to stay home and watch Blue's Clues reruns. We stopped at the playground. I was telling him about how I wanted to get a real cat someday. That was before I found out my parents are extremely allergic to cats. Crenshaw stood on his head, then he did a cartwheel. He was an excellent cartwheeler. When he came to a stop, he gave me a grumpy look. "I'm a cat," he said. "I know," I said. "I'm a real cat." His tail whipped up and down. I said, "You know, a cat other people can see." He batted a paw at a yellow butterfly. I could tell he was ignoring me. A bunch of big guys, 4th and 5th graders, walked by. They pointed at me and laughed, making cuckoo circles with their fingers. "Who you talking to, doofus?" one asked, and then he snort laughed. That is my least favorite kind of laughing. I pretended not to hear him. I knelt down and tied my shoe like it was a very important thing I had to do. My face was hot. My eyes were wet. I'd never been embarrassed about having an imaginary friend until that moment. I waited. The boys moved on. Then I heard someone else approaching. She wasn't walking, more like skip dancing. "Hey, I'm Marisol," said the girl. I'd seen her at recess before. She had long, dark, crazy hair and an unusually large smile. "I have a Tyrannosaurus backpack just like yours. I'm going to be a paleontologist when I grow up, which means..." "I know what it means," I said. "I want to be one too. Or maybe a bat scientist." Her smile got even bigger. "I'm Jackson," I said, and I stood. When I looked around me, I realized that Crenshaw had vanished. Okay, friends, what did we notice about the exact time that Crenshaw disappeared? Think about it. Chapter 31. I've sometimes wondered if I was kind of old to have an imaginary friend. Crenshaw didn't even show up in my life until the end of 1st grade. So one day at the library, I looked it up. Turns out somebody did a study on children and their imaginary friends. Fact is, 31% of them had an imaginary friend at age 6 or 7, even more than 3 or 4 years old. Maybe I wasn't so old after all. In any case, Crenshaw had excellent timing. He came into my life just when I needed him to. It was a good time to have a friend, even if he was imaginary. Ooh, so that is part 2. We're going to go ahead and start part 3. The world is so you have something to stand on, a hole to dig, a first book of first definitions, written by Ruth Krause and illustrated by Maurice Sendak. So it seems as if now Jackson has a friend. Maybe he doesn't need Crenshaw anymore. Chapter 32. It occurred to me that Crenshaw's return, the night of the kitty bubble bath, as I came to think of it, might be a sign that I was right about my parents. It was coming again. The moving, the craziness, maybe even the homelessness. So remember, friends, when he was talking about living in the car, Jackson, we'll pause here, that was something he remembered from before. And so now we're back in present time, and Crenshaw has shown up again because his family's having money troubles again and selling all of their things. So again, Crenshaw to the rescue. I told myself I'd just have to face facts and make the best of it. It wouldn't be the first time we'd hit a rough spot. Still and all, I'd been hoping to get Miss Leach for 5th grade. Everybody said she liked to explode stuff for science experiments. And Marisol and I had our own dog walking business going pretty well. I'd been looking forward to trying out the new skate park when they got it built in January, and maybe even doing rec soccer if we could come up with the money for a uniform. It would be easier for Robin. You could move her anywhere and she'd be fine. She'd make friends in an instant. She didn't have to worry about real stuff. She was still a kid. I lay on my mattress as the list of things I was going to miss kept getting longer. I told my brain to take a time out. Sometimes that actually works. Not so much this time, or this round. Last year, my principal told me I was an old soul. I asked what that meant, and he said I seemed wise and beyond my years. He said it was a compliment. That he liked the way I always knew when someone needed help with fractions, or the way I emptied the pencil sharpener without being asked. That's the way I am at home, too. Most of the time, anyway. Sometimes I feel like the most grown-up one in the house, which is why it seemed like my parents should have known they could talk to me about grown-up stuff, and why it seemed like they should tell me the truth about moving. Last fall, a big raccoon got into our apartment through an open window. It was 2 a.m. Aretha barked like a maniac, and we all ran to see what was wrong. The raccoon was in the kitchen examining a piece of Aretha's dog chow. He held it in his little hands proudly, like he'd discovered a big brown diamond. He was not even a tiny bit afraid of us. He nibbled his diamond carefully. He seemed glad we joined him for dinner. Aretha leaped down to the couch. She was barking so loud I thought my ears would fall off. Robin ran to get her baby buggy in case the raccoon wanted to go for a ride. My mom called 911 to report a home invasion. My dad, who only had on his sock monkey pajama bottoms, turned on his electric guitar and made this ear-splitting screeching sound to scare off the raccoon. "Don't you dare go near that animal," my mom warned Robin. She pointed to her cell phone and shushed us. "Yes, officer, yes. 68 Quiet Moon, apartment 132. No, he's not attacking anyone. He's eating dog food. Dog chow, actually. Not the wet kind. Kids, stay away. He could be rabid." "He's not a rabbit, Mommy," Robin said as she wheeled her baby buggy in circles around the living room. "I'm pretty sure he's a beaver." For a while, I just watched them all go crazy. It was kind of entertaining. Finally, I whistled. I have a really good whistle for a kid. I used my pinky fingers. Everyone stopped and stared, even the raccoon. "Guys, just sit on the couch," I said. "I've got this." I walked to the front door and opened it. That's all I did. Just opened it. Fog drifted. Frogs chattered. The waiting world was calm. Everyone sat on the couch. I kept Aretha quiet with her squirrel chew toy. It was covered with dog slobber. We watched the raccoon finish his food. When he was done, he waddled past us like he owned the place and headed for the open door. He glanced over his shoulder before he left. I could almost hear him muttering, "Next time I go to a different place. This family is nuts." Lately, I felt like I always had to be on alert for the next raccoon invasion. Doesn't really seem quite right that Jackson, being the child, has to be the one to take care of the family and to do all the worrying. What do you think? Okay, Crenshaw fans, let's see what happens next time. On chapter 33, we're in the final part. And I'm also wondering whether Crenshaw is going to stay, and will Crenshaw ever go away? Or is he just going to keep reappearing as Jackson needs him? Okay, friends, see you next time.